Hi, everybody. I'm Ed Randall, and welcome back to Ed Randall's Talking Rams. Here on this video series, we're paying tribute to those men and women, members of the Athletic Hall of Fame, who distinguished themselves on the field of play and brought glory and honor to Fordham University. We hope you'll pass the word about this series to all of your friends in the Fordham community and have them tune in. We continue our series of conversations with a 1995 inductee into our Hall of Fame, who is one of the most extraordinary athletes in school history, excelling in not one, but two sports. On the basketball court, she is second all-time on the Lady Rams scoring list. First in scoring average, second in field goal and free throws made, third in assists, and fourth in steals. She averaged 21.8 points per game in her career, holds the single-season record for scoring average at 24.8, and single-game record for points, 40. She was a three-time first-team All-Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference selection, and in her senior year, the MAC Player of the Year. If that wasn't enough, she also excelled in cross-country track, part of two Metropolitan and one Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference championship teams, and also held our cross-country record. She received her undergraduate degree in 1989 and master's degree the following year from Fordham. We welcome back one of our great all-around athletes, Jeanine J.J. Radice. It's great to have you. Thank you so much for doing this.
It's great to be here.
So let's talk about life before Fordham. You grew up in Staten Island. Tell us about your life before Fordham on Staten Island.
Well, I went to St. Joseph by the Sea High School. I went to Catholic school pretty much all my life. So elementary school, Lady Star of the Sea, and then St. Joseph by the Sea High School after that. I played two sports pretty much most of my life. When I was in high school, I joined the track team after basketball season, and then just fell in love with it. I always ran, but not as much as I did in high school. And then I knew I wanted to do both in college because I had a passion for both.
Which in your heart came first as a kid, basketball or track?
Basketball.
And do you have your earliest recollections for us of playing basketball?
The earliest when I played, yeah, I mean, I played from a young age. I played when I was 8 years old. They used to make the announcement in elementary school, and I remember being in second grade saying, "Okay, tryouts for third grade and up." And I was like, "Oh, third grade! I got another year to wait to play." So I was always excited to play. I always played with my brother. My brother used to let me hang around with him and his friends. For whatever reason, I have no idea. Usually a sister hanging around with their brother, they're like, "Go away, go away." But he allowed me to hang around and play basketball with him, and that's really how it started.
Um, who were your favorite basketball players growing up?
It's funny that you didn't see many women on TV back then. You saw a lot of Tennessee, Louisiana Tech, a lot of those people on TV, but Old Dominion actually back then on TV. So a female basketball player, to be honest, people would be like, "Oh, Kim Mulkey," actually. And now you see her on the sidelines, and she's patrolling the sidelines in her outfits and things like that. But I just always loved her passion and intensity for the game. And she played my position, which was point guard position. And so I got to see her obviously in a Final Four, watching on TV when I was in high school. And I said, you know what? I could do those same things.
Tell us how you, and you did, and indeed you did even more than that. Tell us how you got to Fordham.
Well, I was being recruited. I wasn't sure. A lot of people said I was really, really good coming out of high school in cross country. And I ran in the nationals. It was a Kinney Nationals back then, which is a select team to run. I was on the Northeast team, and they flew you out to San Diego to run against the best in the country. And so a lot of people wanted me to go run in college and do that exclusively because I thought I had a lot of ability and talent. But my heart was with basketball. So when I was being recruited, I tried to find a school that would allow me to do both if I chose to do both. And Fordham was one of the schools to allow me to do that, and it was close to home and great education. So and it was big for me for my parents to be able to see me compete, whether it's cross country and track or whether it was basketball, because I come from a close family.
And who finished second to Fordham? And what made you choose Fordham?
Uh, the academics and proximity to home. Obviously, I'm from New York, and it's 45 minutes from my house without traffic. I don't know if my parents ever got through New York without traffic, but there were a lot of other schools. I mean, Wake Forest for basketball. I talked to Duke on the phone for basketball at that time. Southern Illinois was going to allow me to do both. VCU was going to allow me to do both. Virginia Commonwealth. So there were several schools.
And came to Fordham on an athletic scholarship for basketball, right?
Right, absolutely.
Had there been any members of the family, any family ties to Fordham before you?
No, no family ties.
No. Tell us about your first day on campus. Had you ever been to Fordham before you became a Fordham Ram?
No, obviously on my visit to Fordham, right? When you come and you're from high school and you go visit with your parents and stuff, that had been my first time on Fordham's campus. And I didn't know what to expect, right? Everybody says the Bronx, but I'm from New York, so the Bronx doesn't matter to me. Manhattan, the city, doesn't matter. But no, that was my first time, and then my second time was when I got on campus to start my education there.
And what did you think when you walked around?
Well, the campus was beautiful, right? It's enclosed. It's beautiful. You have the botanical gardens outside. You have the Bronx Zoo. You have Fordham Road. I mean, but the campus itself was beautiful. It was just, you could never imagine the campus being in the city, that campus, being in the city. It was just, you felt like you were in a different world.
It's an oasis, isn't it?
Yes.
Did you know what field of study you wanted to pursue before arriving at Fordham?
I did. I wanted to go into physical therapy, so I would have to take the science track during that time. I have a twin sister who's actually a physical therapist now, and so she followed the game plan. I didn't follow the game plan academically because we wanted to start our own business. So I got sidetracked and went the psychology undergrad, and then got my master's in education.
Right. What drew you to psychology?
You know what? I thought, if I'm ever going to do this coaching gig and do something like that, I need to have some kind of a background, maybe in psychology and working with people and everything else. So that kind of drew me to it a little bit.
And decided, as you just mentioned, to get a master's degree in education. And what was the thought there?
Well, I thought, coming out of college, giving back. If I was going to coach on the high school level, I wasn't sure at the college level what I was going to do. But to be able to teach and then give back what I learned, whether it was educationally or basketball wise or cross country and track, was something that I wanted to do.
Favorite subject was what?
Science.
And least favorite subject?
History. But I always say, I tell our players all the time, they say, I didn't like studying history, but I liked making history. And they were just like, oh, okay.
Very nice. And you did. Give me, if you would, Jeanine, a caring professor who inspired you and made a lasting impression.
That's a tough one. We had a professor, and I forget her name, but she taught in religious studies there at Fordham. And you think I remember her name. But she was awesome. She taught a course in marriage and family and just was outstanding, just an outstanding professor, role model, just everything that you would want to emulate in a person. And so, as I say that, I'm Catholic, but she was one of the better ones, at least at Fordham for me.
Talk about the academic rigor you experienced at Fordham.
Yeah, I mean, coming from a Catholic school, I think I was well versed and ready for that challenge because the academics was very good at my high school. But playing two sports in college is no easy task. So time management, things like that, were very important. But the academic rigors, I mean, you really had to buckle down, and especially me being in psychology with labs and different things like that. It was time consuming.
Did you have a favorite building? Do you have a favorite building on campus?
Keating, I would say Keating Hall would be my favorite.
Where'd you live through the years?
I lived in Walsh, 3 out of my 4 years.
And how was that experience?
It was good. I lived on the 10th floor, so when the elevator broke, it wasn't very good after, especially playing two sports and running all the time and then coming back and having to go up 10 flights. That was an experience.
I think our audience would like to know, did you run up the stairs and run down the stairs when the
No,
elevator didn't work? No?
I never did. I slowly walked up the stairs. After 2 workouts, I slowly walked up.
Did you have a favorite hangout?
I mean, yeah, we really liked hanging out on Eddie's Parade, pretty much like, outside, when it was sunny and in the fall and the spring, just hanging out there. There were a couple places off campus that people went at the time. But during the day, in the spring and fall, it was Eddie's Parade right on the grass, just hanging out with a blanket, talking to everybody and, getting the sun.
Was the cafeteria food the pinnacle of fine dining?
No, it wasn't very good, obviously. Now I know they built the whole new facility right there attached to Rose Hill, which I'm sure is great. But the student athletes experience nowadays with the cafeteria and everything is unbelievable compared to what we had. I mean, you had 3 choices in the dining hall, and if you didn't like that, you probably went and got some cereal. But no, the dining was the dining hall.
Did you work any jobs while you were at Fordham?
No, I honestly didn't have any time to do that with running cross country, basketball overlapping, and then my academics. That would have definitely been difficult.
When did you feel comfortable at Fordham?
Probably not until the end of my freshman year. I think it was hard coming into a situation, being very good in high school and then coming on the court and being pretty good as a freshman in college. I think I understood my role, but I don't know how much everybody else enjoyed that. Here's a freshman coming in and she can do these things and blah, blah, blah. Some liked it, some didn't, and so it took me a little bit to acclimate to that.
Do you remember your first event representing Fordham, either in track or basketball?
It was basketball. First, I mean, we were playing Canadian team in an exhibition. That was the first recollection, other than practice, was an exhibition game. McGill, I think it was against McGill.
You remember what happened?
No, I don't. Now I look back and I don't remember it at all. I mean, I have no idea. I started the game, but I don't remember.
But you burst on the scene like few have at Fordham, winning in 1986 the MAC Rookie of the Year. You were off to a great start.
Yeah, I think, my dedication had a lot to do with it. The coach at the time had a lot to do with it. He put me in the right positions, right? Coaches put players in the right position to be successful a lot of times, right? At least successful coaches do that. And so, he told me not to back down. He told me take shots when I'm open and do everything that I can do. And so that made me feel a little bit more comfortable at the time. And even at end of game situations, sometimes he put the ball in my hand, which was good, shocking, but good, as a freshman. So
why shocking? Because you were so young?
Yeah, because you're so young. When you're in coaching, right? There's a trust factor, and usually your most experienced players there's a lot of trust because they've been through the battles. I hadn't been through as many battles as maybe some of the juniors and seniors were, and that experience. So, looking back on that, kind of crazy, from that standpoint. But I guess he trusted me and trusted the ball in my hands and the things that I was able to do.
And wanted to win.
Right. Yeah.
December 5th, 1987, against Drexel, 40 points, still a single game record. Tell us about that game.
Ooh, it's like a blur, to be honest with you. And when you're playing, you're scoring and doing things, but never realized I had 40 points. You're just playing and you're doing the things that you do, whether that's driving to the basket, whether that's, shooting the three, whether that's getting fouled in free throws. So I know it was a battle. I remember it being a close game. And yeah, and I was shocked when people told me I had 40 points after the game. So obviously you go into these games and the goal is to win. So as a player, you're going to do whatever you can to win, whether that's play great defense, whether that's make a great pass to somebody. I won't say rebounding because I'm not in any of those categories as a point guard, but you just try to do the best you can.
And 1,000 points in the first 2 seasons. You were a machine.
Yeah, and again, that's surprising because I think in high school I scored. Matter of fact, a young lady just broke my high school record probably about a month ago, and I would have thought it was broken already. It was like 1,400 points and that. But yeah, I mean, to be able to do, never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd be able to do what I did or accomplish what I accomplished in my 4 years with basketball. I just think it was a product of work ethic, confidence from working so hard and my ability. When I look back now and everything that you mentioned, the accolades, I'm like, wow, I did that, because you don't think about it. Once you've done it, you kind of move on in your life and you work and you try, in my profession, try to help players. Number one, be good people and get them ready for the outside world, but be good players.
1989 MAC Player of the Year. Talk about accolades.
Yeah, consider. I mean, the MAC was very good back then. You had LaSalle that was really good. You had Holy Cross that was really good. I mean, they had outstanding players on those teams. So to be able to win that award was something else. And obviously, the coaches picked that, and it was a great honor.
You made free throws look easy. And I'm sure that was a skill that you practiced and practiced and practiced.
Yeah, yeah, except for the one game, to be honest with you. I missed 2 free throws and I could have sealed the deal. It might have been in my freshman year. And I missed 2 free throws to win the game. I drove to the basket, got fouled, and I'm saying to myself as I go to the free throw line, wow, that's not smart on the other team's part because I'm a good free throw shooter. Well, talk about, and I hate to use the word choke, talk about choking. I missed those 2 free throws and was devastated. The next day I was back in the gym and probably made 500 free throws that day because I typically don't miss free throws. So you live and you learn.
Jeanine, what drove you as an athlete?
You know what? I always just wanted to be the best that I could be. If I'm going to compete, I want to compete and be the best that I could be. It was an inner fire, to be good. And so I always knew when I wasn't practicing, when I wasn't running, maybe somebody else was I'm going to compete against and maybe possibly meet and would beat me. I didn't like that. I didn't say I didn't like to lose, but I wanted to compete and be. It's kind of like the Army slogan, right? Be all you can be. I wanted to be the best that I can be in whatever it is that I'm doing. And even now in coaching, I always wanted to give 100%. And I could live with myself if I gave 100% and it wasn't the best or it wasn't the best race, but I gave 100%. I can live with myself with that. I couldn't live with myself if, I fell short and didn't compete hard. And I don't think there was a day or a practice that I didn't really compete extremely hard.
Who motivated you beside you? Was there another person in your life?
Well, and I think my mom really, I mean, if you're going to emulate somebody, you got to emulate the people around you who helped raise you, right? I had great parents raising me, but I mean, they set the standard. I mean, when your parents always tell you you can be whatever you can be, and do whatever you want, um, because of your work ethic. And I learned the work ethic from my family, right? Blue collar workers working hard every day, providing for their family and giving us all the opportunities that we had. So I felt like, my mom and my parents, that they're giving me this opportunity to be good at anything, right? So go be good at something. Not a lot of people have those opportunities. So, you know, use it. Use your abilities too that God gave you. That's a shame when you don't use your God-given abilities. And yes, I had to work, but he gave me the ability and the energy to be able to do what I did.
Who comprised your cheering section at the games?
My parents, my brother, my sister, my aunts and relatives that all lived in New York. My parents never missed a home game or away game. And neither did my brother. My brother traveled. I mean, you know, he always took off from work and just to come to see me play, and my parents as well. So they were there all the time through everything, and that was a big decision to me going to Fordham. Easy for them to travel to home games, and then obviously a little bit more difficult to the away games when you're in tournaments and things like that. But they came, they were there.
Did you feel pressure? And if so, how did you handle pressure?
Yeah, I think more than anything, it was inside. It was the pressure. Yeah, it was the pressure I put on myself. Outside people put pressure on you in some ways because when you win in a race or when you're scoring a lot of points and you do that, right, there's expectations that you're always going to do that, right? So that never bothered me, the outside part. I think the pressure was within for me to be really good. I was more disappointed in myself if I wasn't good. I had my parents and I had my family and brothers and sisters saying, if I didn't play well or run as well as I want, hey, it's okay. You're going to get them the next time. You're going to do well. But I was harder on myself. I I hated, having a game on a Saturday and not having a game until next Saturday because that was a
Right.
week of thinking about it and working and working and working until you can show what you can really do for the next game. That was a long period of time to be waiting, especially if you didn't play well.
Yeah. You're an All-America candidate entering your junior year. You have a memorable meeting with Frank McLaughlin, with Lou Kern, your basketball coach, and Suzanne Shea, the women's track coach, to budget your time. Talk, if you will, about that memorable meeting.
Well, I mean, when you're, and I'm not saying when you're known, right, and things like that. I think a lot of people pull from you from different ways, right? People want interviews, people want different things. I think in a meeting they just wanted to make sure that I continue to do the things that I was doing, right? Time management, my academics, basketball, um, cross country and track. I mean, the basketball coach and cross country and track coach. I mean, Lou and Sue worked really well together. Um, you know, I remember, we played an exhibition game, and then right from the exhibition game, you know, Sue would drive me to one of the races because it was the end of we were running at Lehigh. It was the end, so I'd go right from a game, hop in the car, and then the next morning, running a race, a 3 mile race at Lehigh, because it was the
Wow.
NCAAs and stuff like that. So they worked really well together. They tried to help me manage my time, make sure that I stayed healthy and different things like that. So, yeah, it was a great help.
You agreed to run in the cross-country season, which began in mid-October and ended shortly before the start of the basketball season in November. So this allowed you to play basketball without interruption. And when the season was over, you could resume track in the spring. Boy, talk about an ambitious schedule. Wow.
Yeah, and what was the tough part was it was to get in the conditioning coming out of the season, basketball season, and get in the conditioning you wanted to get in to race against some of the best college players, right? They're in condition all year round. And now I was in a different kind of conditioning with basketball. Yeah, conditioning, but not the running conditioning I needed. So I think at times I did a pretty good job, and at times I thought, oh gosh, I'm not even reaching my potential because these people are way ahead. I was playing basketball; they were running during the winter, and I was playing basketball, and so that was difficult, especially in the spring season for me. I enjoyed it. I think I ran pretty well, but I think at times, when I think back, could I have been better? Absolutely, but the time demands were different for me back then.
But my goodness, when you look back at your body of work, 3 days before the first basketball practice your junior year, you won the Metropolitan Intercollegiate Cross Country Championships at Van Cortlandt Park.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, that I appreciate that. I didn't think of it like that at the time, I mean, when you say it like that, I'm thinking like, wow, I did that. Yeah, I again, you just I did what I did when I did it, and it's something, now, like I said, when you speak about it, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. But um, we had a physical therapist there, Vinny, and one of the athletic trainers at Fordham, and he always used to see me working out and doing all this stuff, and he used to call me. He's like, "Wow, you're a machine," you just keep going and going and going, and he was in the athletic training room, and that's a place I never wanted to be. Right, as a student athlete, you never want to be in there. I'd go in there and chat, but I never wanted to be in there. I'd hightail it out of there quick.
How did track help basketball or vice versa?
Yeah, track helped basketball because I was in incredible condition. I mean, you'd get some boxing ones played on you, and the same person wasn't guarding you all the time. They would rotate different
Mm.
people on you and things like that. I mean, I could run for days. I can run for days up and down the court. And I think the biggest thing is I always had my legs in as far as end of game situations and things like that. I was never really tired. So my legs were strong and dare I say, fresh in a 40-minute game. And I played a lot of minutes because of that condition. I mean, when you look back and you read things about Michael Jordan and stuff, and he used to run 6 miles a day or 5 miles a day and plus work out basketball. Well, there's a reason he did that. I mean, he was the greatest. He was the best, and he was able to do that, I think, because of the condition. And I try to tell our players like that: the better condition you're in, the better you're going to be in end of game situations and everything else. I mean, I just never got tired. I just played a lot all the time. And a lot of people just still say, "Hey, you're so and so age, you have so much energy." Um, you know, I think that's part of a blessing, right? That's God giving, I
Mhm.
think, to the energy. So
Suffer any injuries in your career
I did.
in either sport?
It was basketball. I tore my not meniscus, cartilage in my knee, and so laterally I wasn't moving very well. At least to my standards. If I'm going to play, I don't want to play halfway. I want to play all the way. So I did.
When did this happen? When did this happen? Do you remember the incident?
Yeah, it was
And
my. It
what
was.
year, what year were you in?
I was in my junior year. I think I turned the wrong way. I hit knees with somebody, and my knee turned the wrong way, and so I felt something. And then I tried to play still like 1 or 2 games afterwards, but laterally wasn't very good. And then I had surgery, so I missed probably 4 games in my career. The only 4 games I ever missed in my entire career. And Dr. Zambetti actually did my surgery, and then I rehabbed and was back in a week because I was in great shape. And I think I lived in the training room for that week, just trying to get back. So yeah, I
The
missed
place
about
you did,
4 games.
the place you never wanted to be except to
E-
say hello.
exactly.
Tell us about trainers, doctors, strength and conditioning people, anybody who helped along the way.
Yeah, and I think they all did. Like I said, Vinny was a guy, and he used to be with the men's team as a trainer and physical therapist. I don't know. I think he's retired right now, but he was really good. I mean, in helping me, especially my rehab after I came back from surgery. He was basically the one that, was bending my knee and getting me on the bike. And, they wanted me being there 2 times a day. I was in there 3 times a day, just so that I could get back and get on the court and do the things I was capable of doing.